Okay, so we're going to continue about the parasha about Avraham Avinu.
Entonces continuamos con la parashá de Abraham Avinu,
With the help of Hashem.
con la ayuda de Hashem.
Okay, now. Okay, so now we have the part where they both, where Avram and Lot, they returned from Egypt.
Tenemos la parte donde Abraham y Lot regresan de Egipto.
And they both and they came back wealthy. I mean, Pharaoh gave them wealth, and now they're rich.
Y ahora ambos son ricos. El paro les dio riqueza.
Then it says they started getting in each other's way, and
y empieza uno a interponerse en el camino del otro.
Then it says there was a conflict.
Y dice que hubo un conflicto.
And so they say the sages explain about the conflict.
Los sabios explican acerca del conflicto.
That Lot's shepherds claim that since Hashem promised the land to Avraham Avinu.
Entonces los pastores de Lot decían, pues ya que Hashem le prometió la tierra a Abraham.
So then we should treat it as if it's already belongs to us, and we could do whatever we want now. Yeah.
Entonces nosotros debemos de portarnos como que ya le pertenece y podemos hacer lo que se nos venga en gana.
So if we could pasture our sheep in somebody else's property, because after all, we're going to it's going to be, it's God, Hashem said it belongs to us.
Entonces podemos llevar nuestro ganado a pastar donde queramos en la propiedad de quien sea, porque Hashem ya prometió que iba a ser de Abraham.
Right. But Avram, this is wrong. I mean, Avram's shepherd said, no, this is wrong. When only, we have to respect the people, and only, in the right time, in the right, whatever Hashem tells us that we do, and nothing else.
Pero los pastores que trabajaban en cuidar el ganado de Abraham no pensaban así. Ellos decían, no, debemos solo de llevar a pastar el ganado a donde se nos esté permitido.
Right, and in this situation, Avraham Avinu saw that he needs to separate from Lot.
Y debido a esa situación, le quedó claro a Abraham de que él debía de separarse de Lot.
Right, the whole thing is not simple.
La cosa no era tan sencilla.
I explain we know for sure that Lot was a big tzaddik, a very big tzaddik.
Sabemos que Lot era un gran tzadik.
His face was similar to Avraham Avinu, they say.
Aún su rostro era muy similar al de Abraham Avinu.
And I'll tell you one example is like in Sodom, he was willing to risk his life to take in guests.
Más adelante vamos a leer que en Sodom, Lot estuvo dispuesto a arriesgar su vida para defender a sus invitados.
Right. I mean, I don't know if I would risk my life to take in guests. I don't know if I would do it. I don't know.
Dice Rab, yo no sé si yo lo haría, arriesgar mi vida por invitados.
Right. Right. You have to give credit to like some of the Germans who hid the Jews in their houses, and other people risked their life to do that.
Eso nos recuerda a los alemanes que arriesgaron su vida para esconder judíos en sus casas durante el tiempo del Holocausto.
You have to give credit, but I don't know if I could do even like their behavior. I don't know if I could do. I could even behave like them either.
Debemos de darles crédito a los alemanes por ello, pero yo en verdad no sé si lo haría.
And Lot was a big tzaddik.
Entonces vemos que Lot era un gran tzadik.
And even in his serving of the guests and his treatment of the guests, it was like Avraham Avinu, similar.
Y era evidente que en el trato que tuvo para con sus invitados era similar a Abraham Avinu.
And so why the decision to separate, to push Lot away wasn't simple.
La decisión de empujar lejos a Lot no fue una decisión fácil de tomar.
Right, but somehow Avraham Avinu was able to understand that if the shepherds are dealing with things in the wrong way, then what I have to do is I have to push them away.
Pero él entendió que si los pastores estaban obrando de manera inapropiada, debía de retirarlos.
Okay, somehow Avraham Avinu was able to understand that in this situation it's appropriate that I push them away.
De alguna manera, Abraham supo que en esta situación lo mejor era el distanciamiento.
I don't want my shepherds to learn from his shepherds. If I'm going to let them hang around, they're going to learn from them.
Yo no quiero que mis pastores empiecen a razonar y a comportarse como ellos. Y si permito que sigan aquí, eso va a suceder.
Right, and you have in the Mishnah, distance yourself from bad neighbors. It says this.
Y en la Mishnah se nos dice, pon distancia entre tú y un mal vecino.
So you shouldn't learn from them.
No aprendas de ellos.
Now, where did light go wrong? I mean,
¿En dónde falló?
I think he got wealthy. Now,
Creo que fue el origen, la riqueza que adquirió.
and so then he started concerning. He got a little drop more now concerned with his properties and stuff.
Y empezó a preocuparse y ocuparse mucho más de las cosas que poseía.
And you see that when he chose Sodom, he gives a reason that it's like a garden. So that means it would be good for his pasture, for his animals.
Podemos notar en lo que él dice acerca de Sodom, que era como un jardín, era propio y adecuado para pastar sus animales.
Okay, so really they both were tested. Avraham Avinu and Lot were tested. They looked similar, and now they're given the same test as well, both at the same time.
Vemos como ambos, Abraham y Lot, fueron probados al mismo tiempo con esta riqueza que obtuvieron.
Right. So this is also like a trial. It's kind of like a selection between who's going to pass the trial of dealing with the wealth in the right way.
¿Quién ha de aprobar esta situación de riqueza? ¿Quién va a tratar con la riqueza de la manera apropiada?
Right. So Avraham Avinu, he passed in this.
Abraham Avinu aprobó.
But as we see in the story, Lot is very close. It could be, you could say that the closest in the world to us could be Lot, the people that come from Lot. To being like a Jew, it would be like Lot. Or maybe Esav is a little bit closer, and then after that comes Lot.
Haciendo una comparación, el pueblo judío tal vez se parece primero a Esav y luego a Lot.
Right, because you see in the end that they were Esav and Lot is our closest neighbor in living next to Israel. I mean, next to us.
Lot y Esav son tal vez nuestros vecinos más cercanos con referencia a vivir en la tierra.
And it says that they gained those parts, the living near the land, through Avraham Avinu. That's what it says.
Y la razón por la que tanto los descendientes de Esav como los de Lot tuvieron el mérito de vivir en la tierra santa fue por
Close
Abraham.
to it. I don't know.
O cerca de la tierra. Muy cerca de la tierra.
And in the future, those parts will be part of Israel. It already states that in the prophets and all that.
Hay profecías en las que se declara que aún esas tierras de Esav y de Lot van a formar parte de la tierra de Israel.
Sure, it's really in the Bible itself. It says that. In the Bible, in the Torah itself, it already says this. Towards the
Lo
end.
dice en la Torah escrita.
Yeah, and so there's a thin line between Avraham Avinu and Lot. There's a small line, but here, this point right here is from the dividing points between them, the separating point.
La diferencia, el punto, la línea que separa a Abraham de Lot es mínima, pero es esta y es importantísima.
Okay, and then next thing you have in the Torah is about the kings, with the war with the kings.
Lo que viene a continuación es el incidente con los reyes.
Okay, it's chapter 14. That's where it starts. It's chapter 14. That's where it starts.
Es el 14. Pero allí
have anyhow the 4 kings.
La historia de la guerra entre los 4 reyes.
You have 4 kings there, and
4 reyes.
And anyhow, the sages say that they make it. It's clear that the leader of the four was Nimrod.
Y queda claro que el líder de esos 4 reyes era Nimrod.
We understand that from the sages,
Eso lo entendemos de los sabios.
right? Because they say that the first one, his name was Amrapal, is Nimrod. Amraphel, he's Nimrod. They say.
Nimrod es justo el rey que aquí se describe como Amraphel.
So he's the first one. So that's why it's you can see that that's called he's the most important thing.
Es el primero que se cita en el verso 1 de Bereshit 14. Él es el más importante.
Okay, and you have the 5 kings.
Y luego en la contraparte tenemos a 5 reyes.
Right. Now, I think we could picture in our mind that the 4 kings their territory is centered around Babylonia and Syria over there to the north.
The 5 kings.
No, the 4 kings.
The 4 kings. Okay. Si pudiéramos ver en un mapa, los 4 reyes que dominaban, sus naciones estaban establecidas entre Babilonia y Sinar.
Syria.
Entre Babilonia y Siria.
And from the 5 kings, you have Sedom.
De los 5 reyes tenemos a Sedom.
Sedom and Amorah, which is all together in the same place over there nearby.
Sodom y Gomorra, que es la misma área.
And then another one also must be next door. The last one must be next door to them also, right nearby, because that was also one of the cities ended up being destroyed with Sedom, the last king.
Y el último rey, Bela de Zoar, pues también era vecino, porque vamos a leer aquí al final también termina siendo destruido.
Oh, now it clicks into my mind. I'm reminded now that all these 5 kings are really the 5 kings of the cities of Sedom, of the 5 cities of Sedom. It clicks into my mind.
Dice Raf que le acaba de prender el foco y se acordó que estos 5 reyes eran los que gobernaban en Sedom.
Right, now I'm reminded of this. I don't remember the source exactly.
No me acuerdo la fuente donde dice, pero me acuerdo que dice.
Okay, and Rashi tells us that from the names, that implies that they're wicked kings.
Y Rashi nos dice que por los nombres de estos reyes es que sabemos que eran reyes perversos.
Okay, some of them, the name is practically Russia. The first one, his name is Ra, Bid, and the next one, his name is Russia. So,
el primer nombre era Ra.
Berra, his name is.
Berra.
So Ram is bad.
Y Ram es en hebreo malo.
And Beresha is also Russia, is bad and wicked.
Y Bersha también es perverso, malvado.
Okay.
Bera y Birsha.
So these are we know this. Edom was a wicked place. We're gonna and these are wicked. The 5 kings are wicked kings.
Aquí hay 5 reyes que son reyes malvados.
It says in the verse that they were serving the 4 kings for 12 years. It says.
Y aquí en la narración entendemos que ellos eran sirvientes. Estos 5 reyes fueron sirvientes durante 12 años de los 4 reyes.
It says it. Right, it says in the verse. It says it in the verse.
Lo dice allí en el verso.
Verse number 4. It says.
En el verso 4. Estamos en Bereshit 14.
Right, and then they rebelled at that point. It says.
Y entonces se rebelaron en este punto, después de los 12 años de servir.
And then, so that was the cause for the war.
Y ese fue el dilema que provocó la guerra.
Right. So why were they serving the 4 kings? I mean,
¿Por qué eran sirvientes de los 5 reyes de los 4 reyes?
Right. Why were they right? Because so we could understand that Nimrod was very powerful and scary, and he had influence to cause them to be tribute to him, to pay taxes to him, to serve him.
Nimrod era muy poderoso y él tenía las herramientas para infligir miedo, y por esa razón le era fácil cobrar impuestos de estos 5 reyes.
Why did they rebel?
¿Por qué se rebelaron?
Oh, so this we can say relates to light getting there, because that's what happens right before.
Justo antes de que se rebelaran, llegó a vivir con los 5 reyes Lot.
So then we could say that light, light through light's influence, they connected to Avraham Avinu, and light told them about the teachings of Avraham Avinu.
Entonces, Lot, cuando llega, comparte de las enseñanzas de Abraham Avinu.
And he told them that there's nobody to be afraid of. That Avraham Avinu already had a confrontation with Nimrod, and like we said, we had the story before, and Hashem protected him from Nimrod, and there's nothing. You don't really have to, if you don't have to be afraid of Nimrod. That's all.
Entonces Lot empieza a compartir acerca de cómo Abraham ya había confrontado a Nimrod. Abraham había salido ileso. ¿Cómo
Right. So
no hay por qué temerle?
yeah. So then they came under the influence now of light and Avraham Avinu.
Entonces estos 5 reyes empezaron a ser influenciados por Lot e
And they said, why
indirectamente
should we
por las
pay?
enseñanzas de Abraham.
So they started thinking, why do we have to pay taxes? So they started, we won't pay taxes. We stop paying taxes.
Entonces dejaron de pagar impuestos. Dijeron, ¿por qué? ¿Por qué hemos de seguirles pagando impuestos?
Right. And all right. So then and so now the 4 kings came to fight. And,
Los 4 reyes vinieron a guerrear.
right. They maybe we could say that they maybe were scared of Avraham Avinu to a certain extent. I think they were scared.
¿The 4?
Yeah.
Dice el Rab, yo creo que los 4 reyes tenían respeto hasta cierta medida, temor de Abraham.
But the Siddim were wicked, so they figured that he's not why would God help them? Why would they knew God of Abraham, yes, but the God of Siddim, why should he care about them?
Ellos temían a Abraham, pero decía, pero ¿por qué se va a involucrar a Abraham con la perversidad de la gente de Sodom? No
Right.
creo que Abraham salga a defenderlos. Es lo que pensaban los 4 reyes.
Okay, and so then they did engage in battle, and the 5 kings basically were were forced to flee.
Entonces resolvieron entrar en conflicto bélico y los 4 reyes lograron someter a los 5 reyes a tal punto que esos 5 reyes ya solo buscaban huir del conflicto bélico.
Right, and it tells you in the verses they were very powerful. The 4 kings, they beat all the people on the way here. They defeated them. All the giants and all these people, they defeated them. All the Canaanites, they defeated them on the way to the battle. Yes.
Cuando los 4 reyes se dispusieron a salir a recordarles a Sodom quién mandaba, en todo el trayecto combatieron con hasta gigantes y a todos los vencieron.
So definitely they're very powerful. Whatever they had, magic, whatever they had, they're very powerful.
Cualquier herramienta de la que se valieron los hizo muy poderosos. Bien pudo haber sido también la magia.
Right, and the 5 kings made traps, but they end up falling into their own traps.
Los 5 reyes habían preparado unas trampas para sus enemigos, pero terminaron cayendo ellos mismos en esas trampas.
Right. Okay, and so then they took everything. So then they captured all these cities, and they took all the wealth in the cities, and they took light also.
Entonces estos 4 reyes, como ganaron, entonces recabaron todo el botín y a las gentes, y entre esas gentes iba Lot.
Right, and then somebody ran and told Avraham Avinu what happened.
Uno de los sobrevivientes del combate logró escapar y corrió hasta llegar con Abraham Avinu y le contó lo que pasó.
And so then Avram, he right away, no considerations, no nothing. He was going to go into battle and to fight.
Y Abraham, en cuanto lo escuchó, se dispuso a entrar en el combate.
And really, it's a question. I mean, are you supposed to risk your life in such a situation? I mean,
y aquí surge la pregunta, ¿debiera uno exponer su vida en una situación similar a esta?
Right. I mean, So he said Lot was also his family, and he was also a righteous man, a righteous person.
Ya dijimos que Lot era un hombre justo y ahí estaba entre ellos.
And he was also his family. And
Ya tenía familia.
but is that enough? Was that enough? Because when they were living together, he pushed them away. So now he's going to risk his life to save him.
Recordemos que mientras vivieron juntos, hubo ese conflicto del cual se tuvo que distanciar Abraham. Y ahora que viven distanciados, ¿ahora va a ir a arriesgarse por él?
Right. I mean, so maybe, and you could say this. I've heard there's different things you could say. One, I always used to say that because he was family, then he couldn't look the other way. And so he thought he had to risk his life for it. That's what I always used to say.
En el pasado, dice el Rab, yo solía decir, como Lot era familia de Abraham, no tenía escapatoria, por eso se sentía comprometido a ir a rescatarlo y no la pensó dos veces.
Right, because it says don't stand by your brother's blood. I mean, if somebody's in danger, you're not supposed to do nothing.
Hay un verso que dice, no te pares junto a la sangre de tu hermano. Eso queriendo decir que si alguien está en peligro de muerte, no seas indiferente.
Right, but the thing is that if you're not really, if you're sure that you're going to die, you're going to be killed, according to the rules of nature, there's no way he can defeat them. So then you're not supposed to do it.
Pero también es cierto que si no hay posibilidades de que tú salgas triunfante, de que puedas salir con vida, entonces tampoco hay obligación para hacerlo.
Right, you're not supposed to do it. You're not really allowed to give your life for somebody else's life. That's one of the rules. Your life comes first.
No nos es permitido dar nuestra vida por otro. Tu vida viene primero.
So how did he? Right. So maybe that explanation not so good.
Entonces, en considerando esta verdad de que no nos está permitido ceder nuestra vida, la vieja explicación que yo solía darme de la obligación porque es un familiar no es tan válida.
Maybe it's not so good. So
tal vez no sea tan buena.
So somebody in the synagogue here was explaining this on when we had the parsha on Friday night. We explained it in the synagogue.
Dice el Rab que alguien en su sinagoga el viernes en la noche que estaban comentando esta parasha compartió lo siguiente.
So he said like this that Lot looked exactly like Avraham Avinu.
Y él lo dijo así. Lot por fuera se veía idéntico a Abraham.
And so when they were taking Lot back to with them.
Cuando se llevaron a Lot junto con todos los prisioneros.
So they're probably going to make a whole parade. And,
ellos estaban seguramente planeando organizar un gran desfile de victoria.
And they'll make like fake news on Facebook that they captured Avraham.
Y probablemente pensaban hacer como ahora se hace las noticias falsas en Facebook.
That they captured Avraham Avinu because he looked like Avraham Avinu. They're going to act as if they captured Avraham Avinu.
Iban a mostrarlo como que ellos atraparon a Abraham Avinu porque se parecían mucho.
And then they're gonna so then people think that Nimrod must have been in those arguments that they had. Nimrod must have been right all along, whatever.
Y con esto pretendían que la gente concluyera, pues entonces de veras que Nimrod tenía la razón siempre.
So that Avram saw that's like a desecration of God's name.
Y Abraham al contemplar lo que se iba a suscitar dijo, oh no, eso es en decremento del nombre del Eterno.
So if the desecration of God's name, then you're allowed you can give your life for such a thing. Then you're allowed to give your life. Stop.
Y para evitar que eso suceda, que se blasfeme el nombre santo del Eterno, entonces sí se nos está permitido poner nuestra vida en peligro.
That's what. That's what this rabbi in the synagogue said. This is how he explained it.
El rabino en la sinagoga lo explicó así el viernes.
Right. So it's a good explanation. I know I understand better why he went and risked his life.
Ahora entiendo mejor por qué fue que Abraham arriesgó su vida para ir por Lot.
And then the famous story that Hashem made it that the sand turned into arrows, that he picked up the sand and threw it at them and turned to arrows and he defeated them.
Y hay una historia famosa de que Abraham tomó con su mano arena y al arrojarla salían como flechas.
Okay, and then he came back,
Y luego
and
regresó
really the kings, they wanted to give him a lot of the wealth, but he refused the wealth.
Entonces los 5 reyes liberados quisieron darle su remuneración a Abraham y le querían dar su dinero,
He refused it. He didn't take anything.
pero Abraham lo rechazó, no tomó nada de ellos.
And then the king of Shalem, it says there, they say Melchizedek, the king of Shalem, was there. It said.
En un momento estuvo allí presente Melquisedec, el rey de Shalem.
And they say they say that the sages say that was Shem, the son of Noah.
Los sabios nos dicen que este personaje, Melquisedec, es Shem, el hijo de Noah.
Right, and Shalem is Jerusalem. It didn't have the first part of the name, but it had only the second part, Shalem.
Y Shalem es lo que ahora conocemos como Jerusalem, porque en aquel entonces no tenía la primera parte de su nombre, solo la última, Shalem.
Okay. And all right, so that's the end of the story with the kings. And
ese es el final de la historia con el conflicto de los reyes.
And so what do we learn? What are some of the things we learn here?
¿Qué son algunas de las cosas que podemos aprender aquí?
I mean, so we see that Avram, he came to the land. We said Avram came to the land and he called out the name of God.
Abraham llegó a la tierra y proclamó el nombre del Eterno.
And so that means he invited people into his tent, like we said before.
Y esto lo hacía desde su tienda cuando invitaba a los que viajaban a pasar a comer con él.
So he was having he had a certain amount of influence on the land and the people there. He had a certain amount of influence of the belief in Hashem.
Vemos que su influencia era importante para.
I didn't say it's important. He had a certain amount of influence over the
tenía
people.
Cierta cantidad de influencia, literalmente.
Right. Did he affect people? Did he make the people's dime into good people? That didn't happen.
Que si los hizo ser buenas gentes, eso no pasó.
But we'll see soon that Avram was upset by that, and he felt responsible for them. Later in the next parasha, we see that.
En la próxima parasha vamos a ver cómo Abraham se molestó que así fue.
Sure, and he felt responsible for the people of Sodom.
Él se sentía responsable de la gente de Sodom.
Right, but he didn't succeed in having enough influence.
No tuvo éxito en tener tanta influencia que los cambiara.
And right, so overall, this is also like this section is also like another of the trials of Avram Avinu. How he will handle light, and
ese incidente también es otra prueba para Abraham, cómo manejó a Lot.
And then dealing with the war. Now we can understand that it was to for that to make it that the God's name is not desecrated. How much he's going to stand up for this. And,
y el haberse parado para defender el nombre del Eterno, de que no fuera desacrado, de que no fuera humillado.
Right. And at the end, the last thing is that he didn't take gold from them. And
al principio es importante notar que Abraham no tomó de la riqueza de ellos.
Right. They ask, why did he take from Egypt, and why Abraham took from the king of Egypt and not from this over here?
Surge la pregunta, ¿por qué Abraham sí recibió lo que Pablo le ofreció, pero no recibe lo que estos 5 reyes le quieren dar?
Oh, but I think now we can answer the question good. We can answer this good now.
Pero ahora sí podemos contestar esa pregunta.
Because since he was doing it to do a mitzvah, so he didn't want to get a benefit he didn't want to take a benefit because it'll take away the merit of the mitzvah.
Y la razón es que en esta ocasión él estaba cumpliendo con una mitzvah, la de defender el nombre. Y por eso él no podía recibir una ganancia del cumplimiento de esta mitzvah.
He didn't want to take it because then he would lose some of the merit of the mitzvah.
Él no quería recibir esa ganancia porque le restaría al mérito de haberla cumplido.
Right, and the sages do say that in reward for not taking anything from the king, so we gained he earned us two different mitzvahs. I think tzitzis and tefillin, I think.
Y debido a que Abraham no tomó nada de la riqueza que le ofrecían por haber cumplido esa mitzvah, se enseña que gracias a eso, por el mérito de esa actitud, fue que se ganaron las mitzvah del tefilim y el tzitzit.
Right. And so you see, so because he sacrificed for a mitzvah, he gained more mitzvahs for his children.
Concluimos que por el sacrificio realizado en el cumplimiento de una mitzvah, se ganaron otras mitzvahs para todos sus descendientes.
Okay, very good. All right, so that's what we have. See if there's questions.
Denis, Rabino, cuando Abraham usó a los 300 estudiantes de Torah para ir a la guerra, ¿es porque nadie quería apoyarlo para liberar a su sobrino Lot? Tengo esa duda. Bueno, Denis, fueron 318.
Yeah.
Did he choose the students because no one else would go with him?
Yeah, well, now we can understand better, because now if he's going to do a mitzvah, so then he goes, right. And who would go fight these four kings who defeated everybody inside? Who would go with him? Only people who are ready to sacrifice for God's name also.
Pues, ¿quién más querría ir contra esos reyes que habían arrasado con todo, que le habían ganado a todo el mundo? Solamente las personas que por medio del estudio habían comprendido que uno debe de poner su vida para elevar el nombre, para no permitir que fuera desacrado. ¿De dónde provino la riqueza de Abraham Avinu?
So it came from Para.
Del faraón.
Right, and Para, because by Para he wasn't there was no mitzvah involved here, and that's why only because he caused trouble for Sarah.
En el incidente en Egipto, Abraham no estaba cumpliendo con una mitzvah, entonces pudo recibir lo que le daban. Hannah, en el Midrash menciona que al comienzo mencionan las 318 personas, pero más adelante solo mencionan a 3 siervos que se quedaron con el botín. Entonces no se quedaron, ¿cierto? Hannah is stating the Midrash where it says that at the beginning he started to war with 318 young people.
Right.
But at the end, when the wealth was or what they rightfully deserved was only given to 3, did all others leave him?
Must be. It must be. They lost their nerve in the battle. It happens. It's not an easy thing. All Abraham had his weapons to throw sand at the people. He lost his nerve. They lost their nerve. They said, "What are we doing here?"
Dice, es probable que también hayan perdido su valor, porque no es cosa sencilla ir a la guerra. Y luego Abraham, ¿qué tenía? Solo arena.
That's all he had today.
Era todo lo que tenía. Entonces es entendible, es justificable ver que hayan tenido temor.
It's interesting because one time the time said that he said to two of his students that were with him that had we us three went and fought against the Tsar of Russia, whoever it was, then we would have defeated him. He said something like that.
Una vez comentó el Hafez Haim que digo, si nosotros 3 hubiéramos ido, hubiéramos vencido al zar de Rusia.
So I wonder why he thinks that he needs the other 2. Why can't he just go himself?
Entonces dice, yo no entiendo por qué necesitaba a los otros 2. Solito bastaba.
So I guess maybe he learned from Abraham that Abraham also had 3 people there.
A lo mejor lo dijo porque notó que Abraham así lo hizo con 3.
Right, and also, okay. And Moshe also, when he went up to fight with the mountain, he had 2 people with him.
Y también Moshe, cuando peleó contra Amalek, tenía a 2 personas con él. I always wondered, siempre me surge la duda al leer esto, ¿por qué no se menciona que Lot fue agradecido? ¿Por qué no hay ni 3 palabras de que Lot haya agradecido a Abraham que lo haya salvado? Why Lot is not mentioned as he gave thanks or something to his uncle?
I guess because I don't know, we have to think about it, but I guess it's we'll have to see. I could try to answer in a different way, but I'm not sure. But maybe he didn't offer the proper gratitude, so the Torah didn't say it because he wasn't really properly grateful. That's one possibility.
Una de las razones por las que dice
No, it could be possible. It may be possible. I don't know.
Que puede ser es que la Torah no haya mencionado nada de Lot porque no mostró la gratitud apropiada.
Possibly.
Posiblemente.
And because the Torah, if somebody's grateful properly, then the Torah would say he was grateful. But if it didn't do it properly, so then the Torah would leave it out.
Si hubiera sido agradecido de una manera apropiada, la Torah lo hubiese mencionado, pero no menciona si alguien no lo hizo.
And he did use this as an opportunity of kind of like reconciling with Avraham Avinu and realizing and leaving Sodom. You see, he went right back to Sodom.
Si hubiera sido apropiado su agradecimiento, se hubiera reconciliado con Abraham, pero no, se devolvió a vivir en Sodom.
Right, because it may have been an opportunity for him to reconcile, because he should have realized that the greatness of Avraham Avinu and that he should stop worrying about his properties and monies and this, and maybe give up on that and go to be like a servant of Abraham. Maybe that's what he should have done.
Tal vez él debió haber reconocido en ese momento la grandeza de Abraham y la manera tan maravillosa de vivir y haberse retirado de donde estaba, pero no lo hizo. John.
Right, but we can't make it as a major criticism, because I'm sure he was also like a tzaddik, so he had his justifications. His justification was that certainly Light's justification of going to Sodom was, I'm going to go to Sodom to have influence on the people to bring them in the positive direction. That was just.
Cuidemos nuestra crítica de Lot, porque recordemos que era un tzadik, así es de que sus razones tendrían un peso muy grande de justificación. Es casi seguro que él decía, yo regreso con ellos para ser de influencia sobre ellos. No lo logró, pero lo intencionó. Johnny dice, ¿cómo se pueden identificar las condiciones en las que el nombre del Eterno esté siendo denigrado a tal punto que uno debería arriesgar su vida para evitarlo? Johnny wants to know, how can we tell when we need to give our life for the name? How can we know that it's being denigrated?
Right. Now we're studying the laws of these things. There are laws of giving these things. I don't remember if we learned it recently, but there's laws that tell you exactly when yes and when no.
Hay leyes que nos dejan en claro cuándo arriesgar la vida y cuándo no, por el nombre.
Now, in this situation, Abraham, he may not have been obligated to do it, but he's allowed to do it. He had permission.
En esta situación en particular, Abraham tuvo permiso de hacerlo.
Right. Maybe he wasn't obligated, but he was allowed to.
no estuvo obligado, pero sí se le permitió.
Okay, like let's say on Shabbos, whatever, you're not allowed to just give you life. If you're not obligated, you're not allowed to give you life, because that's like you're taking away your life. You're not allowed to do that.
Como en Shabbat, no estamos obligados a dar nuestra vida por guardar Shabbat. You mean for
Right.
keeping Shabbat? Okay.
Yeah. So, but if you did, then you're violating against your life. You're not allowed to say, I'm not going to desecrate Shabbos and give up your life. You're not allowed to do that.
Pero no nos está permitido degradar el Shabbat. Eso no nos está permitido.
And what again? You're not allowed to say, I will keep Shabbos and forfeit my life.
No puedo decir, sabiendo que está en riesgo mi vida, voy a guardar Shabbat aunque pierda la vida. Eso no nos está
Right.
permitido.
You're not allowed to do, because that's like you're forfeiting your life. You're not allowed to do that. That's itself is prohibited.
Porque eso sería también estar denigrando nuestra propia vida. Y eso no nos está permitido tampoco hacer. Bueno, otra pregunta. Karina, tal vez Lot sabía que los visitantes eran ángeles. Bueno, pero esa parte todavía no la vemos.
Yeah, but we're going to get to that soon. We'll get to that soon.
Sí, vamos a verla pronto, dice Denis. Rabino, una duda. Abraham tenía como esposa a una mujer justa, Sara, pero no tenía una mujer que tenía el odio gratuito. Eso fue causante de su nivel espiritual no se elevara. Lo mismo que pasó con Cora, ya que la esposa malvada hizo resaltar ese odio gratuito que tenía.
Okay, I'm not going to rush quickly and blame the wife. God forbid we shouldn't do this here. Don't blame the wife so quickly.
Dice el Rab, yo no me voy a apresurar a culpar a la esposa. No creo que
Right.
es sabio ni prudente hacerlo. No culpemos a la esposa.
Right. I did a reason trying to blame his wife for everything, and that didn't work out so good.
Adán me culpó a su esposa y no le fue bien.
It didn't work out so good.
Hashem
didn't say, okay, everything is her fault and that's it, and you're good, everything is good, everything will be her fault and that's it.
Aún en ese caso, en que todo el mundo culpamos a Java, Hashem no le dijo, sí, tienes razón, es la culpa de tu esposa. Ah, pobre de ti. No le dijo eso Hashem. Bueno, Batia. Buenos días, disculpe, Rabino. Ya dio la clase de los tzitzits, pero quería preguntar sobre el color azul tejelet. ¿De dónde venía? ¿Quién los fabricaba en la época del templo y de las tribus? I know you already talked about tzitzit.
We talked about it. There's a certain worm that they used to have. It was called the chalazine. It was a chalazine worm, but the tradition of that was lost, and that's all.
Era un gusanito de nombre halazin, pero la tradición para identificarlo y criarlo se perdió. Hannah. Rabino, disculpe, la Torá dice que el problema era con los pastores de ambos, o que había envidia en Lot. The Torah mentions, Hannah says, that the trouble was among the workers of Lot and Abraham. But
yeah,
was there any envy in the heart of Lot?
Envy for what?
The rich,
no, but they both were wealthy. They both were wealthy.
Bueno, dice que los dos eran muy ricos. Ahora, yo pienso que la envidia a veces es tan malvada que no solo quiere tener, sino quiere que el otro no tenga. Sometimes envy is not that you want to have as much as the other. It doesn't say
here anything about envy. It doesn't say. I explained in the thing what the sages say about what the conflict was. It doesn't say that it was about envy. So
maybe this thought is what we terribly learned at the church, that they would present Lot as somebody that had envy. Hannah, dice que en lo que él nos enseñó, él no menciona nada de la envidia. Y yo le propuse...
Light deserves a good measure of respect. I don't say he's a complete tzaddik, but he's very high up. He deserves respect, and we'll see more as we go on.
Cabe la posibilidad de que nosotros traigamos un tinte en el disco duro de lo que aprendimos de este pasaje en la iglesia, y por eso le achaquemos envidia como virtud predominante a Lot. Aunque era sadik, no era el más grande de los sadiks, pero más adelante vamos a seguir viendo que era un hombre distinguible o admirable, no tan mal como nos lo presentaron.
Okay. Certainly not. Right. We're going to learn about this soon. We're going to have about this, specifically about this thing we'll have. When we talk about the destruction of Sodom, we'll talk about this.
Bueno, vamos a hablar más de eso cuando veamos la destrucción de Sodom.
Okay. We finished the questions?
¿Ya no hay más preguntas? Rab, yo he leído comentarios sobre quién le pagó los diezmos a quién. Si fue Shem a Abraham o Abraham a Shem, que cómo se entiende en el hebreo.
Abraham Avinu gave a tithe to Shem.
Okay. Shem. No doubt about it. It wasn't Shem to Abraham.
Certainly no. Abraham gave it to Shem.
Okay, sí. Abraham pagó.
And it says that he was a priest. Shem was like a priest. It says.
Shem era como un sacerdote.
And so he gave a tithe because he's like you give a tithe to a priest.
y le dio el diezmo como luego aprendemos que se le entrega al sacerdote el diezmo.
Right. And you see, I mean,
Do
certainly he
you
had a
know
lot of
if,
respect.
¿sabe
ahead.
usted si Abraham ya había conocido a Shem antes? Do you know if Abraham knew Shem before this day?
They live in the same neighborhood. He must know. They must known. They must have known each other for sure.
Dice, eran vecinos de la región, vivían por el mismo lado del mundo. Así es de que es probable que sí se hayan conocido antes.
And certainly my teachers always taught that Avram received from Shem.
Abraham recibió de Shem la enseñanza.
So therefore, they say that if you take account of things, between Avram Avinu and Adam Arishain, it was only a handful of people, because Avram received from Shem, and Shem was around already before the flood, and from, let's say, Metushelach, and Metushelach probably even saw Adam Arishain. So that means Adam, Metushelach, Shem, Avram. So there's only 4 people in between Avram Avinu and Adam Arishain. Is only 4 people. That means, yeah.
En la lista de las genealogías que nos marcan el tiempo que vivió cada uno de los 20 que hay entre Adán y Abraham, realmente 4 pudieron ser los eslabones, porque Metushala, que fue el que vivió 969, conoció a Adán y conoció a Noah, y Shem
also
también conoció a Metushala. Entonces,
and Shem met each other.
Lo que sabía Adán lo conoció Metushala, o Metusalem, como le decimos en español, y lo supo Shem y se lo transfirió a Abraham. Entonces Abraham llegó a saber lo que sabía Adán gracias a Shem.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. But he wasn't ever sent to study with Shem while he was growing up, right? Abraham
because his father
did it all on his own.
No, only later on. He was until 70 years old. He didn't leave his place there.
Okay, yo lo que le acabo de preguntar es si nunca mandaron al Abramcito joven a ir a estudiar fuera con Shem, y me dice que
Part of the reason he didn't leave is because he always felt that it was his duty to serve his father, even though his father was an idol worshiper. He always looked at it like his duty to serve him until Hashem told him to leave.
Parte de la razón por la que Abraham no había llegado a estudiar antes con Shem fue porque Abraham tenía un sentido de responsabilidad para con su propio padre, hasta que Hashem le dijo, ya es hora, deja a tu papá y vete para donde yo te mando. Wow. A ver, Johnny. Ay, ¿dónde me quedé? Batia. ¿Qué implicaba ser sacerdote en tiempos donde el templo no existía? Ni siquiera el tabernáculo. Johnny asked, what was it, the job or the implication, what was so important of being a priest when there wasn't any temple yet? Not even the Mishkan.
Right, but all these people that we have in history brought the offerings. Adam brought offering, Noach brought offering. They were dedicated, like as Noachites, they were dedicated their life to serve Hashem.
Adán ofreció ofrendas de sacrificios. Noah también. Era la instrucción para los noágidas. Shem era hijo de Noah. Shem estaba ofreciendo sacrificios allí.
Right. He dedicated his life to serve Hashem and teaching people.
Dedicaron su vida a ofrecer sacrificios a Hashem y a enseñar a la gente.
And he taught people how to do about the Sheva Mitzvahs and what how to keep them. That we know. We know for sure in tradition. We have it clearly in our tradition.
En nuestra tradición tenemos muy claro que Shem se dedicó a enseñar las 7 leyes noágidas.
And okay, and we'll see more as we go on. We'll see more, but the forefathers, we know in our tradition that Yaakov Avinu went to study in the yeshiva of Shem and Ever. That we know.
Más adelante vamos a ver que Jacob el hijo de Abraham Avinu, nieto, fue a la yeshiva de Shem que dirigía Ever para estudiar. Hannah,
all right, we got to get off. It's got too late already. It got late. Somebody had another question?
Sí, Hannah, la Torá dice que el problema era con los pastores de ambos. Ay, no, I'm sorry, esa se me movió. Lo que pasa es que la avaricia y el egoísmo aleja de los principios de los caminos de los patriarcas. Hannah wants to comment that being envious or wanting to have more and being selfish makes us lose our path from the forefathers.
I understand that caused him to choose to go away. That's what she means. He was a little bit too concerned. Right, selfish. Yes, he was a little bit. He became a little bit involved with his possessions a little bit more. He was tainted by his possessions, but he still, when he left, he still had really good intentions. Just that there's a little bit of a fault.
Hannah dice que es cierto lo que dices tú y entonces así ve de dónde concluyes que Lot pudiera haber sido envidioso. Dice que lo más que él puede decir es que a Lot le fue problema sus posesiones, sus riquezas, preocuparse, cuidarlas, agrandarlas. Johnny, cualquiera que conocía.
But still, when he left, he went with good intentions. When he chose Sodom, he went with the intention of influencing them, really. So, and they made him a judge right away, right when he got there. That's what we see.
Pero quiere destacar el Rab que cuando Lot se fue a vivir en Sodom, él llevaba buenas intenciones. Y prueba de ello es que luego lo hicieron juez, que estaba fuera en la puerta. Johnny, cualquiera que conocía sobre el servicio a Hashem en esos tiempos era considerado sacerdote. Johnny wants to know if the only requirement to be called a priest of Hashem was if they knew how to serve Hashem.
I'm not sure. Maybe it could be that when we learned that Noach said that Hashem will dwell in the house of Shem, so by saying that, he dedicated Shem kind of like to be a priest. Could be that's how it works.
Más bien, Johnny dice que recordemos la bendición que le dio Noah a Hashem, que le dijo que Hashem iba a habitar en sus tiendas, entonces estaba como que dedicando a su hijo Shem al servicio de Hashem.
Okay, good. Right, but you see, the Torah itself calls him a priest.
Y la Torah misma lo llama sacerdote.
It is a priest of God. It's not who else. How many people in the whole Torah get such a title?
¿Qué tantas gentes en toda la Torah obtienen este título por la misma Torah? Johnny asks, so to be a priest, you need to be ordained?
Perhaps he was ordained by Noach. Perhaps I don't know. Actually, the truth is that we say that all the firstborns are automatically priests before the giving of the Torah. All firstborns are automatically kind of like have this role.
Antes de que fuera entregada la Torah, todos los hijos primogénitos poseían este cargo honorífico de ser sacerdote.
Right, but I don't know. It could be only if the children of Avraham Avinu works like that. Or the thing is that by Noach, Shem wasn't the oldest, but he whoever was above him lost already. The other brother lost the right to be the priest, apparently, because Shem Noach gave him the priesthood.
Shem no era el primogénito, pero cada vez que el primogénito despreciaba, menospreciaba o perdía el privilegio de fungir como sacerdote, le pasaba ese privilegio a su hermano.
Right. You see, by Yaakov Avinu, Levi ended up being the priest class, not Reuven, even though he was the oldest, because Yaakov Avinu passed it on to Levi.
Jacob Avinu, nuestro padre Jacob, le confirió este privilegio a su tercer hijo, a Leví, siendo que antes estaba Rubén, el primogénito, y Shimón. Was Abraham the firstborn? ¿Fue Abraham su primogénito de su papá?
It's not. No. Actually, his brother was older.
No, creo que su hermano era mayor. The one that died?
Yeah, for one.
El que murió. El
Maybe the
hermano
other
que
brother
murió
also.
era el mayor de Abraham.
Okay, we gotta stop. Must stop because I'm
Ya
losing
tenemos
my...
que parar, aunque todos estamos muy interesados.
Okay. Be well, everybody.
Que todos
Shalom.
estén bien.
Okay, thank you for the translation.
Shalom. Gracias, Rab.
Okay.